Okay, everybody, we're going to begin our class today. Let me give you an overview, first of all, of what we're going to do today. I am um, at a K-8 school. Uh, I was here yesterday and today. Let me apologize, first of all, for the Ohio State pennant in the background. I'm a Michigan fan. Go Wolverines, go blue. But there is, on the other hand, the principal here graduated from Bowling Green State University. So that is the Bowling Green pennant. So let me give you an overview of today's class. There are certain realities of a first year teacher. There are stages of a first year teacher, and I'm gonna have you watch a YouTube video about the stages of a first year teacher. When you start, it's going to be the anticipation phase. You're going to want to make a difference, and then there are certain realities that go along with that, and you'll know how to cope with that. And then we're going to continue our discourse from Monday about creating or crafting a cover letter that will get you hired. So today, let's start off, if you will. At some point, whatever slide you go through and the video's there, then you just watch the video. But I'm going to start with the second paragraph of the cover letter. The cover letter, we will say, has the second paragraph of the cover letter has three dimensions. That is to introduce yourself as a standout candidate, deploying one characteristic about you that will make you stand out. And then the second part is introducing your strengths to the people that are doing the hiring, that will allow them to gauge your fit. And then there is a summarizing statement that combines both the element that you put in the first sentence or the thesis sentence of the beginning of the paragraph and combining that with your strengths. So if you notice, if you will, in this paragraph, I have the sample paragraph says, let me scoot this over just a little bit, and you'll actually be able to see this on your slide. So it says, introduce your strengths as humbly as you can in one sentence. I'm going to say one or two sentences. And the template says, as a learner, I am not afraid of taking on challenges. So if you use that sentence, it will allow the hiring team to know that you are a quintessential learner, that you don't know everything, that you're eager to learn and get better. The second sentence talks about emotional intelligence. That means if you have an empathy strength or you have certain strengths that appeal to being able to be in tune with the students, that is a strength, or that is a characteristic that you can focus on. And then why is that characteristic about you relative or pertinent to students? Well, emotional intelligence will help you to communicate with diverse populations, because as you know, the United States population is shifting to more a diverse population, and you will very rarely find schools in the urban setting, even some of your suburban settings, that have dominant groups. Now, rural areas and other areas, that may be a little bit different, but that's where it's up to you to know the audience of the place that you're applying, if that makes sense. And then we have the second part of paragraph 2, which it says introduce your strengths. I would not recommend that you introduce all 5 strengths. Even though I did it, I would not recommend that you do it. I would say you get more power with introducing your 1 or 2 top strengths that will make you an ideal candidate. So looking at my top strengths are restorative, they are activator, empathy, intellection, and command. But when we're thinking about students from an instructional perspective, I can use empathy, and I can also use restorative as my 2 strengths. I'll pick one. Empathy. When you are dealing with culturally diverse communities, which have a lot of issues outside of the school, one needs to deploy empathy strengths in order to reach students where they are. Okay, so if you have the strength of empathy, for instance, a young man this morning came to the office. He walked out of class because he was frustrated. He sat in the hallway. He came down here, and immediately I knew what was wrong. I knew that this young man had started his day where someone had set him off. And so when I asked him about it, yes, he said that the adult in his home, he woke up to an adult screaming and yelling at him for no apparent reason. So the empathy strengths allow you to communicate with students so you can maximize the learning environment. So let's put that into words, okay? So take this time to write your introductory or your second paragraph. Number one, introducing a characteristic about you that will make you most effective at whatever job you're applying for. So if you're applying for a rural job, you might say that your empathy strength relates to the community and the dynamics of the community. And then the second part, you're going to introduce one strength. Two, if you're passionate, but make sure you make them both relative and connect them to students. And then finally, you're going to do an anchor sentence, which sums it all up. So let me read to you the anchor sentence that we have for the second paragraph. The strengths of empathy and connectedness express the dominant, I say leadership thing because that's my audience. I'm applying for jobs as a leader. You will say the strengths of empathy and connectedness express a willingness and an ability to build relationships with dominant or diverse cultures. Okay? So take this time, write your paragraph 2, and I'll be back on with my completed example.